The 2025 offseason began with a crucial win for Syracuse basketball, not on the court, but in the roster room. Amid a wave of departures through the transfer portal, the Orange secured the return of their two most vital assets, J.J. Starling and Donnie Freeman. Their decision to stay wasn't just a relief, it was the foundation of the rebuild, as nearly the entire roster shifted with names like Chris Bell, Elijah Chapamore, Peter Mastovich, Chance West, and Kyle Cuff all exiting. It was clear that retaining Starling and Freeman was non-negotiable for the program's hopes of contending next season. Several players tested the waters of the transfer portal, including those simply exploring a rare extra year of eligibility. But the real concern lay with those still in their collegiate prime. When the dust settled, Starling and Freeman stood as the last core pieces from last season's squad, and they just happened to be the team's top scorers. Without them, constructing a tournament-caliber team through the portal would have been a near impossible task. Are they complete players? Not quite. There are still gaps, still areas where this roster needs help if it hopes to make noise come March. But there's no denying that locking in these two talents gave the Orange a real shot to build forward. The message from that moment on has been consistent: the job isn't done. Syracuse must keep adding, improving, and targeting high-impact transfers. But in a chaotic offseason, hanging on to Starling and Freeman was the first and most critical victory. With J.J. Starling and Donnie Freeman locked in, Syracuse had its base, a reliable duo to build around. That stability allowed head coach Adrian Autry and his staff to start shaping a real contender. And the next major domino to fall was a massive one: the commitment of Georgia Tech transfer point guard Nathan George. This wasn't just any transfer, this was a game changer. George, a proven floor general with multiple years of eligibility left, brings not just talent, but long-term value to the Orange. As a sophomore last season, he posted over 12 points per game, logged nearly 35 minutes a night, and led the ACC in assists with 6.5 per contest. That kind of production makes him one of the most efficient and impactful guards, not just in the conference, but on a national scale. Landing George was a statement by the Syracuse program. It signaled ambition, it signaled upward momentum, and it gave the Orange a quarterback, someone to run the offense, elevate teammates, and set the tone. For fans and analysts alike, this acquisition shifted expectations. If you already had Syracuse penciled in for the NCAA tournament, you probably just bumped them up a few seed lines. If you saw them as a bubble team, now they look like a solid pick. And if they weren't on your radar at all, well, it's time to start paying attention. This was the kind of off-season move that doesn't just patch holes, it reshapes ceilings. With Starling, Freeman, and now George, Syracuse is no longer just trying to stay afloat. They're actively climbing. Nathan George's arrival didn't just raise Syracuse's profile, it elevated the entire program a tier. With that move alone, head coach Adrian Autry and assistant Alex Klein secured a foundational piece that gave Syracuse a true identity at the point. But the Orange weren't done yet. The next major boost came through recruiting with the addition of two high-upside freshmen, Sadique White and Cayden Anthony. Both newcomers arrive with top 30 pedigree and skill sets that could shift the dynamic of this roster. White has already earned a national reputation as one of the most elite defenders in his class, a player whose length, instincts, and motor could anchor a defensive unit. On the other side of the ball, Anthony brings a polished scoring package that makes him one of the smoothest offensive threats in the 2025 high school crop. He's a bucket getter, plain and simple. The real intrigue lies in how ready these two will be from day one. This isn't a year where Syracuse can afford to wait on development. It's a pivotal, results-driven season. The question isn't whether White and Anthony can contribute in the future. The question is, how much impact can they make right now? Are either of them ready to crack the starting five? That remains to be seen. Early projections suggest both may begin the season in supporting roles, coming off the bench while adjusting to the speed and physicality of the college game. But make no mistake, if either flashes early, Autry won't hesitate to throw them into bigger minutes. Their development could become a crucial subplot to Syracuse's postseason aspirations. In all, with the return of Starling and Freeman, the addition of an elite point guard in George, and two top-tier freshmen waiting in the wings, the Orange have reshaped their trajectory. Syracuse is no longer rebuilding, they're reloading. And here's where things start to get even more intriguing for Syracuse. While Sadique White and Cayden Anthony might not be penciled into the starting five right away, that's not a red flag. It's a reflection of depth, something this program hasn't always had in recent years. Having legitimate talent coming off the bench is a luxury, not a liability, especially for a team with postseason ambitions. Let's be realistic. Both White and Anthony are ranked just outside the top 30 nationally. That's a strong indicator of their potential. No one's projecting them as instant All-Americans or first-year All-ACC selections, but they're more than capable of being reliable contributors as true freshmen. Think somewhere in between what Donnie Freeman brought last year and the flashes we saw from Elijah Chapamore. Solid impact, room to grow, and high upside. If all goes according to plan, these two could become core pieces of the program's long-term future. Syracuse isn't just trying to win now, they're building sustainability. That's what makes this offseason different. The Orange didn't just reload with short-term fixes. They kept their top scorers in Starling and Freeman, brought in a veteran playmaker in Nathan George who could lead the charge for multiple seasons, and added two young prospects who might be the faces of the program by 2026. In short, Syracuse got three major things right this offseason. They retained their key veterans, landed a high-impact point guard through the portal, and added blue-chip talent from the high school ranks. The results won't be fully known until the team takes the floor in November, but make no mistake, this is a roster with real promise, balance, and purpose. Would you like to dive into the projected rotation or analyze key matchups on their upcoming schedule next?